Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to meet the news on global television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that global television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Now the news in full. Former President Muhammadu Buhari has been buried in the compound premises of his private residence in Daura, Katsina State. He was buried at 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday under the shade of trees where he usually sat to unwind and interact with friends and associates. The burial, conducted according to Islamic rites, marked the culmination of period of profound national mourning for a leader who served Nigeria both as a military head of state and a democratically elected president. Kike Lomo Okere has details.
Immediately after the burial, security operatives fired 21-gun salutes at the entrance of his private residence. Three shots were fired at exactly 5:33 p.m. Another three shots 2 minutes later, until the entire shots were completed. The security operatives, dressed in green and red attire, had earlier held a brief parade in honor of the late president. The former president's body arrived at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport, Katsina, aboard Nigeria Air Force Flight 5N FGT 00 p.m. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, alongside Katsina State Governor Dr. Dikko Rada, his deputy Farouk Lawal, among others prominent personalities, received the body at the airport. Buhari's remains were accompanied from the United Kingdom by Vice President Kashim Shettima and other prominent leaders of the country. Upon arrival in Daura, about an hour drive from Katsina, his body was briefly laid in state for friends and family members and other relevant persons to say their final goodbyes. A prominent Imam, Ustaz Azan Yusuf, led other prominent personality in the funeral prayer that marked part of the burial rites. The funeral prayer, which also lasted a few minutes, was completed at exactly 4:56 p.m. at the helipad site, where helicopters are ferrying him where he comes to town touched down. Before the burial, hundreds of residents held funeral prayers for the late president, with some of them shedding tears while supplicating for repose of his soul. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
A sense of grief was pervasive across northern Nigeria as former President Muhammadu Buhari was buried. The mood of mourning also came with northerners gathering to offer prayers for the repose of the soul of Buhari, who died on Sunday in London, United Kingdom Hospital. Emirs and district heads in Katsina, Kano, Gombe, Sokoto, Zaria, Borno and Bauchi states exemplified the morning mood, with palaces flying their flags at half-mast. Just a cleric were invited to offer prayers for Buhari. Short sermons saw reflection on Buhari's life of simplicity, honesty and patriotism. Nigeria has described former President Muhammadu Buhari as a leader whose life was defined by service, discipline, and a commitment to restore integrity to public office. Some Nigerians who spoke to our correspondent, Obong Usara, praised him for his thrust against corruption, his simplicity, and love for the country. Here is the report.
Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari died in London after a long illness. He served as president from 2015 to 2023, and earlier as a military head of state from 1983 to 1985. In an interview, Nigerians reacted to the passing of the immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari, saying the entire country has been thrown into a state of mourning, adding that being a two-term president is one of Buhari's greatest legacies.
Seriously, when I heard the news, I was so sad. I'm not really happy. He's our leader, he's our former president, he's our military head of state. That time, there's a policy that he brought that we all enjoy, and there's some policy he brought that we all sad.
It's a very sad one for all of us Nigerians. Many people may have their own side of the story about Muhammadu Buhari, but for me, he's a very good man.
They also described Buhari as a very good man who will be missed, while highlighting the End Power scheme as one of his major achievements.
We know him with his disciplinary record, who against indiscipline that he introduced to Nigeria, which reshaped the minds of Nigerians.
I really want to say I'm sorry for the great loss to the Buhari's family, because nobody is perfect. In every government, there's always the good and the bad.
Death is actually so inevitable, and he is quite old. He has done his bit, he has tried his best for Nigeria, and I just send my deepest condolences to the family and to Nigerians. I pray that his soul rest in peace.
As Nigerians reflect on the life and leadership of Muhammadu Buhari, many agree that his legacy, whether praised or criticized, has left a lasting mark on the nation's history. Ubong Usoro for Global TV.
The death of the former President Muhammadu Buhari has reverberated in Nigeria across the world, with tribute pouring in from leaders home and abroad. From President Bola Tinubu to past and serving political leaders across various landmark moments in the lead of the former Nigerian leader have continued to be highlighted. Beyond Nigeria, governments around the world, including China, have also condoled with the Buhari family, the Nigeria, and the people of Nigeria. Our special feature on the former president brings you a highlight of his life and time in office. Uyi Agbomofuegbe has the rest of the story.
A man who began his career as a soldier, becoming a military and a democratically elected president are both considered monumental feats.
The Supreme Military Council met yesterday and after an exhaustive deliberation approved your appointments as military governors for the 19 states of the Federation.
That was Muhammadu Buhari about 4 decades ago as a military head of state, inaugurating military governors following the 1983 coup. He later would spend 2 years leading what a section of Nigerians today refer to as the war against indiscipline under military government. Buhari was born on December 17, 1942 in Daura, Katsina State. He joined the Nigerian Army in 1961 and rose through the ranks, eventually leading the country as a military head of state from 1983 to 1985, a period during which he launched a nationwide anti-corruption and discipline campaign, earning him a reputation for tough leadership. Following decades in public service and several attempts at the presidency, Buhari made history in 2015 when he was elected a civilian president under the All Progressives Congress (APC), becoming the first opposition candidate to defeat an incumbent in Nigeria's political history. He was re-elected in 2019 and served 2 terms, focusing on fighting corruption, improving infrastructure, and tackling insecurity across the country. President Buhari's time in office saw the expansion of rail projects, social investment programs, and public sector reforms, including the Treasury Single Account (TSA). 2015, early success against Boko Haram. Buhari is elected President of Nigeria in 2015 on a pledge to defeat Boko Haram jihadists. 2 months after he was sworn in, he sacked the military top brass inherited from his predecessor, Goodluck Jonathan, and galvanized regional support against the jihadists. 2019 disputed election. In February of that year, Buhari was re-elected with 56% of the votes. the opposition cried foul. His main rival, Atiku Abubakar, challenged the results, which were validated in court in September. Buhari unveiled his new government in August of same year. 2020 coronavirus protest. In March, the capital Abuja and economic hub Lagos were locked down as part of measures to fight the coronavirus pandemic. The lockdown was eased in May, while a curfew remained in place.
Whoever so that there has been some form of injustice on him, we are all humans. There is no doubt I hurt some people and I wish they would pardon me. And those that think that I've hurt them so much, please pardon me.
As the Daura-born retired general and former civilian president exits this world, Nigerians will continue to assess his impact on the basis of the legacy he now leaves behind. Uyi Agbomofogbe for Global TV News.
A federal high court in Lagos has discharged and acquitted former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose of all charges in his long-standing money laundering case brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, that is EFCC. The court upheld Fayose's no-case submission, effectively ruling that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case against him to warrant further defense. Fayose had been standing trial on allegations bordering on money laundering and fraud during his tenure as governor. However, after years of legal proceedings, the court found that evidence presented by the commission was insufficient to sustain the charges. The executive chairman of Makurdi local government of Benue State, Joseph Kefi, has expressed deep appreciation following the deployment of over 500 military troops and security personnel to key areas within the local government as part of a comprehensive strategy to combat insecurity in the local government and Benue State at large. This was contained in a statement by the media aide to the chairman, Tehran Nathaniel, says the troops have been strategically stationed in Mbala, Agong and other parts of the local government, which have been severely affected by insecurity caused by armed herders. These attacks have displaced residents, halted farming activities, and threatened community livelihoods. The Kaduna State Council of National Union of Road Transport Workers has appealed to the federal government to expedite action on the construction and rehabilitation of roads in the state to curb the recurring losses of life and property. The State Secretary to the Union, Hassan Ibrahim, made the call in an interview with the Kaduna sector. Ibrahim said the union recorded on continuous basis road crashes, especially along Abuja-Kaduna Highway and the Western Bypass in Kaduna due to the slow pace in the construction and rehabilitation of the decapitated roads. Rivers State Administrator retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas has demanded a credible local government election from the Rivers State's Independent Electoral Commission. This was contained in a statement issued by the administrator's senior special advisor on media, Hector Igbekio-Wubo, charging the other newly appointed board members to uphold the highest standards of discipline, competence, integrity and unwavering dedication in their service to the state. Ibas gave the charge while inaugurating the reconstituted state electoral body, Rivers State Civil Service Commission, Rivers State Local Government Service Commission, and the Rivers Primary Health Care Management Board at the Government House in Port Harcourt. Retired police officers in Nigeria have intensified calls for improved pension benefit as the National Assembly continues to delay the approval of 758 billion naira in outstanding pension liabilities. This demand was made in a statement by National Association of Retired Police Officers of Nigeria National President Paul Ochono. The police retirees urge the federal government to urgently address the grievances of retirees under the Contributory Pension Scheme, that is CPS, in order to avert a planned protest by 7 police officers. The presidency has faulted the claim of reciprocity by the United States government as the reason for its current visa policy towards Nigeria, saying that the claim does not accurately reflect the actual situation. This was contained in a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. Onanuga, in a statement, said immediately after assuming office, President Tinubu's administration issued a service-wide directive that Nigeria implement all bilateral agreements with other nations and adhere to the principle of reciprocity in diplomatic relations. The organized labor under the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) in Ogun State has commenced an indefinite strike over the government's failure to remit pension deductions, implement the national minimum wage, and address other unresolved issues. The action was confirmed in a statement by the Ogun State chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress, that is NLC, Demola Hamid Benko, following a resolution reached at a statewide Congress of Civil Service Workers in Abeokuta. The statement directed all civil and public servants to withdraw their services immediately, citing the government's alleged non-compliance with the contributory pension scheme established under the Ogun State Pension Reform Law of 2008, amended in 2013. The Southwest Caucus of the Nigerian Medical Association, that is NMA, says its members may embark on strike if the unfavorable allowance introduced for doctors by the federal government are not withdrawn. The caucus, which comprises Osun, Oyo, Ekiti, Ogun, and Ondo State, stated this at the news conference in Osogbo by the caucus chairman, Dr. Adeshino Fasanu, noting that the recent circular issued by the National Salary, Income and Wages Commission concerning doctors' increased allowances is not in tandem with economic reality. Fasanu, who is also the Osun State chairman of the association, said the national leadership of the association had given the federal government 21-day ultimatum to withdraw their circular. Troops of the 6th Division Nigerian Army have dismantled multiple illegal refining sites and arrested 50 suspected oil thieves in Rivers, Delta, Bayelsa, and Akwa Ibom states between June 30 and July 13, 2025. Operations led by the Tactical Riverine Squad uncovered over 25,000 liters of stolen crude and petroleum products, with key seizure made around the Imo River axis, Okaki Forest, and Warri waterways, including speedboats and chemical-laced reservoirs. The Army destroyed numerous bunkering facilities and illegal refining tools, as the Acting Deputy Director of Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma Jonah, reaffirmed ongoing efforts to deny criminal freedom to operate in the region. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has confirmed the successful screening of Aula Isa Manzo as its candidate for the Garki Babura House of Representatives by election in Jigawa State. Speaking after the screening, Secretary of the Screening Committee, PDP National Headquarters, Abuja, Precious Ben, said the party had successfully screened its candidate for the coming by-election of Garki Babura constituency. Independent National Electoral Commission had earlier announced 16th August 2025 as date for the Garki Babura Federal Constituency election following the death of Isa Dogonyaro, who died on May 10, 2024 at the age of 46. The Youth Party has strongly condemned the conduct of the Lagos State local government elections held on Saturday, July 12, 2025, describing the process as shambolic and blatantly rigged in favor of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC). And this condemnation follows a similar rejection by the Labour Party, which labelled the exercise as a dangerous blueprint for electoral fraud ahead of the 2027 general elections. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission (LASIC) declared APC candidates as winners of all 57 chairmanship positions are contested. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Lagos State has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to launch an investigation into the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission over allegations of electoral fraud and manipulation during the July 12, 2025 local government election at the council. The chairman of the PDP, a chairman forum in the state, Adegboyega Adegoson, said the election was a sham, with All Progressive Congress (APC) talks invading polling units, snatching ballot boxes and assaulting voters, while Lagos Electoral Commission officials turned blind eyes or actively aided the attackers. The party also urged the judiciary, civil society organizations, CSOs, international observers and democracy watchdogs to speak out against the tyranny and electoral malpractices witnessed during the elections. You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, Lagos unveils a 500 billion naira for micro, small and medium enterprise fund for women traders. Details coming shortly after this break. Now in business, President of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has announced plans to reduce the price of liquefied petroleum gas, known as cooking gas. He also promised to start direct sales of the product to consumers should the existing distributors fall to allow the price crash in cooking gas. And now on the foreign scene, the Turkish government has warned that members of a terrorist group known as the Fethullah terrorist organization exist in Nigeria and also operate in other countries around the world. The Turkish ambassador designate to Nigeria, Mehmet Porsi, disclosed this in Abuja at a dinner organized by the Turkish embassy to mark the country's Democracy and National Unity Day. Finally, from the world of sport, in a bid to revitalize the National Institute for Sport, the Director General, Philip Shaibu, will inaugurate a 32-man advisory committee made up of some of Nigeria's most accomplished figures in sport, academia, corporate leadership, and the media on Monday, July 21. The 32-man committee will be officially inaugurated at the Awutere Ilaye Conference Hall, National Stadium, Lagos. The committee is charged with crafting forward-looking strategy to transform Institute into a world-class institution, noting that this alignment with President Bola Tinubu's Renew Hope agenda, which emphasizes youth empowerment and institutional excellence. A federal high court in Owerri will sit in the hearing of a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by former Nigerian under-17 striker Mbetubong Ibanga against the Nigerian Football Federation. In a status report from Ibanga's lawyer, Barrister Ephraim Okafor, the court ordered that a fresh hearing notice be issued and served on the Federation following their absence, despite the matter being fixed for a definite hearing. And that's it on Global TV Midday News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app on Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thank you for watching.